Hi, Joe Cerrone. Welcome to CAD 107, Introduction to 3D Printing. And this is our weekly Zoom classroom video meeting. Every week we'll have a meeting at 4 o'clock on Wednesdays to just go through policy and procedures and how the course works. The course will be taught by myself and Alan Rosen. Alan and I have been teaching at the college for quite some time now, and we've developed this course using this 3D printing projects textbook and this mastering 3D printing textbook. The books are available. This one you cannot get at the bookstore. It's available on Amazon. If you click on that, you can see if you have a Kindle, it's free. Otherwise, it's $10. But it's a really nice book because it's got all these different 3D printing projects in it. The other textbook has the theoretical aspects of it, this mastering 3D printing and prototyping. And that book is also available at Amazon. It's also in the bookstore. And so if you need to buy something from the bookstore, this book should be there. If it's not, let me know and I'll take care of it. As we start to work with the course, we're going to take a look at the software as well. So the software is AutoCAD 2020. You could also use SolidWorks. And we're also going to use this Dremel DigiLab 3D slicing software, which is also free. So we started writing the course using AutoCAD last year, and we found that we had such a large group of people who knew AutoCAD that worked great. But we do have a number of people who use other CAD softwares, and you can use a different software, but the videos that we're going to make are going to be geared towards using modeling it with AutoCAD and sometimes with SolidWorks. You can get the AutoCAD software from the students.autodesk.com link. And so if you click on how to get and install the software here, it will go through and give you the directions for autodesk.com and the educational software. Just follow the directions. If you have any difficulty with it, you can send an email message. And what you want to do is to get the AutoCAD 2020 or the AutoCAD 2021, and it's free. You may need to use your student email when you register. And so that is something that you may want to keep track of instead of using like a Google or a Yahoo account. So that's one of the softwares. Another software that we're going to be using is going to be the Dremel DigiLab software. And it's linked right here. And so if you click on this Dremel DigiLab, it links to the Dremel software page. And it's really pretty cool. They've got the DigiLab slicer, and they've got this wireless print cloud. So we can actually have students upload their projects over the web, and then we can print them on the 3D printers. It sends a token to the printer. So it's really kind of neat using the wireless cloud for Dremel. And it appears that they also now use the Dremel Simplify 3D. This is not a real easy software to use, but it does everything. So if you're starting to get into additive manufacturing and 3D printing, you may look into getting a copy of that. I've got a copy. I primarily use this DigiLab software. And so you'll download and install that. It has the instructions for whether you're using a Mac or whether you're using a Windows. And then it's got this how to use the software YouTube video. And if I show you the printer, let's see, I'll come back to that because I'll have to stop the webcam, but we'll be using these Dremel 3D 45 printers. And so if I Google that, they look like this. They're excellent printers. Looks like they're on sale for Valentine's Day. They're reasonably priced, depending on what you call reasonable, compared to other 3D printers. You can get 3D printers for under $500, but if you're going to use something for work or for business, this is an excellent product. And so we've been using these at Oakton Community College now for a couple of years, and they're terrific. Back to our page here. So those are the softwares you're going to need. You're going to need AutoCAD and the Dremel slicing software. You can also get SolidWorks if you're interested in that. It's an excellent software mechanical design program, but the videos will be made using AutoCAD. Okay, so we'll start lab 1 in a minute and I can explain that to you. Before I do, I want to go through the nuts and bolts of the course, like the syllabus and things like that. And so we'll put the announcements on the main page each week. So students should log in, take a look at the announcements and see what we're up to. And then they can get into, or at least to be able to understand any of the projects. We've color coded them. And so the purple links are for videos. And then the green links are for things that we will draw and make with CAD. And then the blue links are for the textbook. So if we take a look at how to use my D2L, there's a link here. If you've never used D2L, you can click on it. And the instructions for that are right there. If we look at the syllabus, I'm going to blow this up a little bit. I'll be teaching this course with Alan Rosen. It's CAD 107. It's just a 2 credit hour course at this time. We may increase it. We're starting to get a lot of people that want to do more with it. And so we may increase this credit hours so that we have more time on task. If you want to get a hold of me, you can email me at the D2L link. You just hit the little email message. There's no prerequisites for the course. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to go through how to create parts that we can make on our 3D printer. And as we look at our learning objectives, we're going to be able to apply engineering functions to existing projects, apply design principles, work in teams to generate. And with the pandemic, we can work together on certain projects where each person may design a part. But it's really a very well laid out course. And so it's essentially a hands-on course where we'll go through design and build. Academic integrity, just something that we want to keep into the course. You want to do your own work. Our outline of topics will map to the textbook. And so that, that 3D printing textbook goes through these different chapters, and we'll go through those. And I have some PowerPoints that talk about what's involved in using a 3D printer. Here's our textbooks. Grading scale will be straight 90, 80, 70, 60. So you want to pay attention to the grade book and see where you're at with it. But essentially, it's not a super difficult course. We'll have 3D printing labs as the majority of the type of work. And then I'll have tests and quizzes or review questions essentially in the D2L system from the end of the chapter that will go through and assess whether you've gone through and read the chapter material. Turn in the assignments to the assignments folder. If they're not on time, you can lose points. We will still accept it. If you do have a difficulty turning in the project, just text or send a message and ask for an extension. If you have any documented learning or psychological or physical disabilities, Oakton's a pretty safe place. We have a lot of support for students. And so if you do have any difficulties, you could contact me and we'll put you in touch with a counselor who can help you if you need it. All right, that's our syllabus. If we come back here to the course, we're going to take a look at the AutoCAD, the Dremel slicer, and the chapter from the textbook. So the material is laid out in module 1. One last thing, the AutoCAD software, here's some information on the installation of it. And if you need more experience in help with the software, you can click on this link and you can contact our tech support guy. Sometimes people will VPN to the computers. And so if you don't have a real high powered computer and you're finding that it doesn't have enough resources, then you may want to go through and talk to Mr. Wong over in the IT department about getting a VPN set up. And then you can just use any computer that links to the internet, and then you run the computer from home, but it's linked to a computer at the college. All right, so we have all these videos and all these lectures. And so here's my lecture on 3D printing. And so I kind of go light on the Zoom meetings because I just direct you in to the correct location for the video. It's like watching a TV show. Our first project will be modeling a name tag or a backpack tag. You can call it whatever you like. But it's a nice project. And then I have a second one for being able to model these gears. And it's kind of nice if you're into applications for industry and technology. Modeling gears would fit well for that. As we go and we look at the way the course is laid out, we have this content section, we have the assignment section, we have quizzes and exams, we have grades. And so if we take them, let's start with assignments. If I go to the assignments tab, this is where you're going to turn in the projects. And so here's where the module 1 assignment goes. The first project is due February, and I'm going to have to update these. I thought this was updated already. Typically, I put these 2 weeks out. And so if today is the 3rd, we're going to make this due on the 17th. And so I can update that and make that the 17th, and we'll at least have that set. And we typically make those due at 11:30 p.m. I'll update the other due dates as we go through, but that's where you'll turn the projects in. And so if you turn in the projects, you'll put them here into the Dropbox, attach the DWG file, and I will then be able to 3D print your projects for you. Under the content tab is where we have all the curriculum and material. And so if we look on the left-hand side, here's my table of contents. And basically it has all the material that's going to be covered within the course. There's a lot of projects in here. Here's our syllabus. Here's our sequence of topics. If I click on the sequence of topics, today is the 3rd. We're going to go through lab 1, modeling with AutoCAD. And then every week we'll do a different lab. The textbook author made the first labs kind of difficult, so we kind of took them out of order, and they work pretty well with that. And so we'll do a lab every week. We'll do a lab for a do not disturb sign, stationary holder, chip clip, a base, memo block, small box, tape dispenser, a ring, and coasters. And we'll have a midterm exam, and we'll have a final exam. And we'll have those exams proctored. And so you will have to have a camera on your laptop that will be able to allow you to take the course test. The quizzes and exams will be located here under quizzes and exams. And so you can take these different tests right here. And then if we come back here to our content tab, that's the outline of topics. Student version of CAD. Again, you're going to want to download the AutoCAD. Here's the textbook that we'll be using, and we've put in the first few chapters for you so that if you haven't purchased it, you can read the PDF version of the textbook. We've also done the same for the 3D printing book. So if you haven't got the book yet, you can click on it and take a look at those links. We have title blocks that are available for students. If we tell you that you need a title block, you can get the title blocks from this location. And they're just basically frames for your drawings. They allow us to have your name, the scale of the drawing, and they're set up for metric drawings. All the drawings in this course are metric. So here's our lab 1. If we take a look at lab 1, what we're going to do, and let me make sure I'm in student view, switch over. So in lab number 1, we're going to do this name tag, or make this name tag. And it's really not that difficult. And then in lab number 2, we're going to do these tri-gears. I have a lecture. And so the lecture for the first part is right here. I recorded it already, but I'll just show it to you. And so here's our 3D printing lecture. And I talk about the syllabus, textbook, outline of topics. Here's our CAD software. The printers that we'll be using at Oakton will be these Dremel 3D 45s, and I've put some links into the information for you for that. They also make laser cutters. I recently got a laser cutter, and I think it's the coolest thing. But this is the 3D 45 that we'll be using. And it has the information on it. I can go through and demonstrate how we'll be doing that on webcam. And here's our textbook. And then some information about why we use 3D printing. And 3D printing is really kind of the neatest thing. I've been doing technology courses since the 90s, and I can do everything from CAD CAM to auto mechanics to electronics. I have a number of different endorsements for certifications. And additive manufacturing is just a really great way to prototype things. And so we'll talk about that in the video and in the lecture. Things like who invented 3D printing and when was it invented. It's an 80s technology, actually. I want to say 83, 86, somewhere in that area. And then a lot of the students like to build their own. And so we've had a lot of good luck with students building these Prusa 3D printers. And then some other applications as far as laser cutting, CNC machining. The machines work on what's called G codes. And so the slicer will actually produce codes that drive the 3D printer printhead, and they're called G codes. They're the same codes that we use on these CNC machines. And then things that we'll be doing as far as questions and working in the class, you'll be asked to complete the quiz. And the quiz is essentially these questions from the end of the chapter. Things that could be printed with a 3D printer, things that could be created with a laser cutter or a CNC machine. So we'll check for knowledge that you're following and reading the instructions. Okay, so as we start to look at some of the content, I can show you some of the projects. This is a couple of the projects that we did. We do this tape dispenser. We do this pencil holder. We have a whole accoutrement of desk organizers for you. We'll start off with Lab 1A. I'll go through that demonstration, Lab 1B, and I'll show you how that works, and then I will end this video. So that's our sequence that we're going to start. If I go through and take a look at Lab 1A, Lab 1A is located right here in Lab 1, and that was the lecture link. This is the link to the textbook, and so if you click on that, this is the first chapter in the textbook. And so if you read through that, you'll be prepared to answer those questions. Here's the file you need to make the first drawing. And so I've already gone through and started for you. If you download it and then you open it, you'll see something like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through, and there's a video that shows you how to draw these different shapes. And so essentially I can come over here and I can draw a circle like that. I'm just drawing it next to it just to give you some understanding and demonstrations. And these are all in the video. And so there's already a video on how to do these things. But being able to draw a circle, being able to draw a rectangle, these commands are located under the draw command. If I want to do a ellipse, I can go here and draw an ellipse. And then if you click on the second tab, I'm going to ask you to put your name on it. And so if I drew a circle here, and then I wanted to put my name on it, I'd go and click on the text, and then I'd click right here, make a box, and then I could say CAD-107, enter, and then green check mark it. If it doesn't go in the right spot, you can click on it and move it with a grip. You could also edit the text. So you could just put your name on it here. And then if we go to the next tab, you can then take these and we will explode the text. And so this is the trickiest part of the whole system. You have to use these express tools. And so these express tools, you'll be able to see them if you turn on the menu bar. Hide the menu bar, show the menu bar. And then when we go to the express tools, what it does is it turns text into vector geometry. And so if you go to text, explode text, you can go through and explode the text for the geometry here. And then we'll be able to work with that. Not sure why it's glitching on me. Let me go to the next one. Okay, and so this looks like this text is set. And then if I explode the text, I can use extrude and press pull on them. And so if I go and I say extrude, I can go and select my text. And this needs to be, let me go and just fix this plan. We'll go to a top view. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back to the video, but here's what they look like in model space. And these ones are already set to go. I'm going to turn off the grid. And so what we're able to do is we're able to extrude them. And so I can go here and I can extrude these letters. It'll do them one at a time. We'll make them a height of about 1/8 of an inch, or let's say in millimeters, we'll say, let's just say 0.25. This may be in inches. And you'll see if I go through and change this to a conceptual view that there's the text for it. And then I can do the same thing for the other component. I can extrude it. And I'm going to take this one up so they kind of take the same area. And then what I'll do is I will then set this up for 3D printing by unioning everything. And then I'll export it as a stereolithography file. Keep an eye on where these go. Okay, so I'll save this and then I'll click on it and I'll hit enter. And so that's it for the first project. You go through and you just create these tags. And if you need any assistance, you can email me and I can make a Zoom meeting for you. Once we've done that, we'll go into the Dremel software and you can see I've got a Dremel printer here. I can actually go in here and can't quite reach it, but you can see my hand in there, I think. They're set up with cameras, and so we can go through and set these up and watch them print. But if I want to prepare it, what I would do is I'd say File, New. And for some reason, it's going on my second monitor. And then I would go and open up that file that I just created. And so I just created this one today, and I'll open that. And yeah, it's an inch drawing, so I'm going to have to scale it. So I'll scale this to a millimeter measurement, 25.4. And then I can take a look at it and it looks like it's upside down. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to rotate it. And it might have been right side up. So I'm going to undo that. Undo that. Sorry, my screen is on my second monitor here. Anyway, once we have that prepared, we can see what the slicer will look like. And then we can actually see the layer heights. And so it will actually simulate the printing process for us. And we'll go through, as the course progresses, all these different settings within 3D printing. And then once we say everything's okay, I can go and say print over the network. And I'll send it to the 3D printer that we have hooked up. You'll either be able to see that over the internet with me, or we'll be able to send that to one of the computers over at Oakton. And so when I start running the Dremel 3D printer, here's my filament. And the first thing that it does is it goes and levels the bed. All right, so we can come back and check on this later. I do make videos on how to actually put in the filament and how to set things up. So that's the first assignment. The second assignment is to produce some of these gears. And so you'll download the file for that. And then you'll open that file. And then there's a video for that as well. Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to press pull or extrude those files, and then we'll put them onto this plate, and it'll make this 3D printed gear thing that you can pick up once we have that printed out. And so I think I have one that's done already, pretty close. And so that'll be the second assignment. If we look at some of the other assignments for the course, here's the video tutorials. And so, like I say, I've already done the instructional material for that. And so you can go through these videos and I'll tell you how to create those name tags. If I come back here, I have another video tutorial for how to do the gears. And that's basically it for the first week. Your assignment is to work on Lab 1A and Lab 1B, read the material from the 3D printing, and you can watch the video tutorials on how to do those exercises. Some of the other projects are available if you want to look at it. So we can take a look at our second project. That'll be this sign. And then after that, we'll do this stationary holder. And then we'll do, I really like the chip clip. I use this quite a bit. The vases turn out great. They make a great Mother's Day or Valentine's Day. I don't know if we'll be able to make it to Valentine's Day. And then I have these Oakton rings, which turned out really kind of great. I really was happy with the way they turned out. And there's a number of other projects in here as well. Tape dispenser is one of my favorites because I can never seem to hang on to one of those. All right, my video is starting to get carried away, so I'm going to start to end it. That's our Zoom classroom meeting. Joe Cerrone, CAD 107, and I'll see you online next week.